The Shattered Pact. Prologue, the Betrayal. For centuries, humanity had stood side by side with the Galactic Concord, a vast alliance of species united under the banner of peace. Earth had contributed technology, resources, and lives to uphold that fragile peace. Humans fought wars not their own, died on worlds they couldn't even pronounce, and rebuilt cities they would never see. And in return, they were betrayed. The Concord's council voted unanimously, without Earth's knowledge, to cede Sol System to the Cordith Empire. A gesture of goodwill, they said. A way to avoid a greater war. Earth, they said, was expendable. When the transmission reached Earth, there was no outcry. No panic. No debate. There was only resolve. Chapter 1, The Siege Begins. The Cordith fleet arrived in force, hundreds of warships darkening the void beyond Pluto, weapons primed to strike. To them, Earth was a prize to be seized, a jewel handed over on a silver platter. But as their admirals stared at their screens, waiting for Earth's surrender, something strange happened. Nothing. No desperate messages begging for mercy. No pleas for negotiation. Just silence. And then, the Cordith ships began to die. From behind the icy shadows of the Kuiper Belt, human ships emerged, smaller, faster, deadlier. Old ships retrofitted with railguns that could punch through Cordith armor. Drones launched in swarms, AIs guiding them like angry hornets. Stealth craft tore through Cordith lines before slipping back into the void. The Cordith thought they had come for a slaughter. Instead, they walked into a storm. Chapter 2, Commander Reyes. On the bridge of the human flagship Resolute Dawn, Commander Elias Reyes watched the unfolding chaos with grim satisfaction. They never learn, he muttered, watching a Cordith destroyer blossom into fire. Beside him, Lieutenant Karima Singh grinned. They thought we'd roll over. They always do. Reyes turned to his crew, his voice steel. Send the message. Karima tapped the console, and a transmission blared on all channels, not just to the Cordith, but to the Concord Council itself. This is Commander Elias Reyes of Earth Defense Command. The Sol System is sovereign. Any fleet that enters will be treated as hostile. There will be no negotiations. There will be no mercy. Earth stands alone, and we will endure. The message ended. The galaxy heard it. And for the first time in 1,000 years, the stars trembled at the sound of a human voice. Chapter 3, The Counterattack. The Cordith regrouped, bringing their full might to bear. They launched waves of fighters, missile storms, plasma lances that scorched the void. But Earth was ready. Orbital platforms hidden on Luna revealed their guns, tearing apart enemy formations. Mars unleashed its automated defense grid, a legacy of humanity's paranoia. Civilian freighters turned gunships joined the fray, piloted by volunteers who refused to see their home burn. The battle raged for hours. The Cordith, mighty and numerous, began to falter. They had numbers. Humanity had something else. Desperation. Ingenuity. Rage. On the Resolute Dawn, Reyes barked orders, coordinating strikes that shattered Cordith command ships, severing the enemy fleet's cohesion. Singh rerouted power to shield generators, keeping their flagship intact against impossible odds. And slowly, surely, the invaders died. Chapter 4, The Concord Responds. But it wasn't over. Far from it. The Concord Council, ashamed, furious, dispatched a peacekeeping fleet. Officially, they came to mediate the conflict. In truth, they came to finish what the Cordith started. As they approached Sol, Reyes watched their armada on the scanners. They're here to kill us, Karima said quietly. Reyes nodded. Then let's give them a reason to be afraid. Humanity activated Project Bastion. Every human colony, every outpost, every moon base transmitted one simple code, and hidden arsenals awoke. Massive rail cannons on Titan. Solar-pumped lasers from Mercury. Mines seeded in the asteroid belt. Even ancient nukes, relics of Earth's darkest days, were readied. And then came the final card. The sun itself shimmered. The Concorde fleet hesitated. For deep inside Sol's heart, humanity had built its ultimate weapon, the Helios core. A stellar manipulator, capable of creating a microflare that could sterilize the system. If humanity burned, so would everyone else. Reyes's voice reached them all. Leave. Or we light the fire. Chapter 5, The Galaxy Remembers. The Concorde fleet stopped. The council debated. And, at last, they retreated, shamed, beaten, terrified. The Cordith Empire collapsed within a decade, overthrown by species who saw Earth's defiance as a beacon. And Earth? Earth rebuilt. Stronger. Smarter. Independent. The name human became legend, a warning and a promise. Never again would humanity trust the stars. But never again would they be underestimated. Because the galaxy learned that day what happens when you betray a human. We don't go quietly. We don't bow. We fight, and we win. Chapter 6, Ashes of Betrayal. Years passed since the Battle of Sol. Humanity, bloodied but unbroken, turned inward, rebuilding, rearming, rethinking. No longer part of the Concorde, Earth charted its own path. The Terran Union was born, a federation of colonies, stations, and habitats, bound by one law: never again shall humanity kneel. Shipyards bloomed like flowers across the solar system. Mars became a fortress. Luna's cities grew beneath armored domes. Even the gas giants became hubs for resource extraction and weapons testing. And above it all, Project Bastion evolved. No longer just a last resort weapon, the Helios core was refined. Controlled. Directed. Humanity had learned to shape the sun itself. The message to the galaxy was clear. We are masters of our own star. What do you control? Chapter 7, The First Challenge. The stars, of course, could not leave Earth in peace forever. The Verthi swarm, a hive-mind species that fed on planetary cores, saw Earth as their next feast. Their tendrils spread from the galactic rim, devouring worlds as they came. Billions had fallen to them. No species had resisted for long. But humanity was not like the others. When the Verthi came, they found the outer system empty, or so it seemed. Their scouts vanished in the dark between worlds. Their advanced ships struck phantom signals, chasing decoys into minefields and ambushes. And then, as they reached the asteroid belt, the trap closed. Thousands of human ships, manned and unmanned, burst from hidden cradles. Kinetic weapons, plasma lances, gravitic torpedoes tore into the swarm. The Verthi screamed through the void, unable to comprehend this resistance. At the heart of it all, aboard the dreadnought Unyielding Star, Commander Reyes, older, hardened, directed the battle. Show them, he said. Show them what happens when you threaten humanity. Within hours, the swarm's vanguard was obliterated. The rest fled, the first time in their history they had known defeat. Chapter 8, The Concorde's Regret. The shattered Concorde watched in awe, and fear. Where once they saw humanity as an ally, then as a threat, now they saw something greater. A force of nature. Species that had voted to abandon Earth now sent envoys, begging for trade, for technology, for alliance. But the Terran Union did not forget. At the Great Assembly of the Stars, held on neutral ground at Iora Prime, Reyes himself addressed the gathered leaders. You abandoned us when we needed you most. You condemned our children to die. And yet we endured, not because of you, but in spite of you. He let the words hang heavy. We will not join your Concorde. We will not serve your counsels. But we will offer you this: stand with us against the darkness beyond, and we will stand with you. Betray us again, and we will end you. The Concord accepted. What choice did they have? Chapter 9, The Birth of the Terran Dominion. With new allies, but no masters. Humanity expanded. Ships bearing the Terran crest explored the galaxy's edge. Colonies rose on distant worlds. Dyson structures were seated around quiet stars. Artificial intelligences, once feared, were now humanity's partners, helping build a civilization that no longer feared annihilation. But Earth remained at the heart of it all. A symbol. A memory. A promise. Every child of humanity learned the story of the Shattered Pact. Every Terran officer swore the oath of soul, never again shall the home of mankind fall while I breathe. And across the galaxy, the phrase became legend. Corner a human, and you face the fury of a world. Chapter 10, The Last War Begins. For centuries, peace, uneasy, imperfect, held. But the galaxy is vast. And not all darkness can be tamed. From the deep void beyond mapped space came the Nyrix Continuum, a race of machines older than memory, driven by an implacable hunger to convert all matter into themselves. They swept through the outer colonies of the Concord. Dozens of species fell before the alarm was even raised. At the edge of Terran space, they met resistance. Unlike the others, humanity had prepared for this. The Terran Dominion called its fleets home. The Great War Arcs, the Sun Lances, the Void-Forged Legions, all awoke from centuries of vigilance. At Sol itself, the Helios core pulsed with power once more. And Reyes, now Admiral of the Starborn Guard, stood at the bridge of the Eternal Dawn, humanity's greatest ship, and sent a final message to the Nyrix. You may take the stars. You may shroud the galaxy in shadow. But you will not have Earth. Come. Try. Epilogue, The Legacy of Humanity. The war would rage for generations. Worlds would burn. Stars would die. The night sky itself would change. But one truth remained constant. Where others despaired, humanity defied. Where others fled, humanity fought. And in the end, when the last Nyrix engine fell silent, when the galaxy knew peace once more, the story was told in every tongue, on every world. When the stars betrayed them, humanity stood alone. When the stars needed them, humanity saved them. When the stars end, humanity endures. Chapter 11, The Silent Century. The war with the Nyrix Continuum had left the galaxy scarred. Entire sectors were lifeless, stars had been consumed or collapsed into black holes during battles of incomprehensible fury. But humanity endured. The Silent Century followed, 100 years where the Terran Dominion rebuilt, not just itself, but the shattered galaxy. Humanity led vast projects to restore ecosystems on dead worlds. Dyson swarms repaired shattered stars. The AI minds of Earth helped uplift species that had teetered on the brink of extinction. For the first time in galactic history, unity seemed possible. But peace is a fragile thing. Chapter 12, Seeds of Division. As the generations passed, humanity's power grew beyond what any species had ever known. The Terran Dominion spanned thousands of systems. Its fleets patrolled every known hyperlane. Its technologies bent the fabric of space, controlled the energies of suns, and even reached into other dimensions. And with such power came fear, not within humanity, but among its allies. Whispers spread in the dark. Former Concord species formed secret alliances. The Ardent Compact, the Threx Coalition, the Zalith Combine, all planning, all watching for weakness. Humanity noticed. And prepared. Chapter 13, The Betrayer's Blade. The blow came unexpectedly. During a celebration of the final reclamation of a Nyrix dead world, a human diplomatic fleet was ambushed. The Ardent Compact, with stolen Terran weapons, destroyed the peace fleet over Lysara 9, slaughtering millions in a single strike. Their message was clear: no more Terran hegemony. The galaxy belongs to all. But they had miscalculated, again. From the core of the Dominion came the reply. Not words. Not threats. Ships. 1,000 dreadnoughts emerged from slip space across ardent territory. Planets that had cheered their betrayal watched as Terran legions descended. This was not vengeance. This was not rage. This was the iron hand of survival. Chapter 14, The Rise of the Starborn. The campaign that followed was unlike any before. Humanity had learned from the Nyrics. The Starborn legions, a fusion of man, machine, and the stars themselves, struck with precision. They dismantled the Ardent Compact not just in battle, but in ideology. Broadcasts spread across conquered worlds, showing the truth: humanity did not seek domination, but survival. Unity, not tyranny. And one by one, the Ardent's member worlds turned on their masters, choosing peace over annihilation. By the end of the campaign, the galaxy stood united, under the Galactic Accord, forged in Terran hands but open to all. Chapter 15, The Era of the Accord. Under the Accord, a new age began. Humanity did not rule. It led, by example, by strength, by compassion. The ancient rivalries faded. New frontiers opened. Together, the species of the galaxy built wonders. Sparkle's Dyson clusters housing trillions. Sparkle's world ships that sailed between galaxies. Sparkles the Starforge rings, where entire planets were born in artificial wombs. And at the center of it all, Earth, no longer just a world, but a symbol. The place where it began. The place that never surrendered. Epilogue, the first message. Eons passed. The galaxy changed beyond recognition. But deep beneath the surface of Earth, the original Helios core remained, silent, waiting, watching. One day, long after humanity had seeded new galaxies, after the last war was a memory encoded in the stars themselves, the core detected a signal. A message, from beyond the galactic rim. Unknown origin. Unknown language. But in it, a familiar rhythm. A familiar defiance. Reyes, long gone, would have smiled. The message was simple. We are coming. We seek allies. We heard of you, the species that stood alone. The species that fought back. And the descendants of humanity prepared once more, not in fear, but in welcome. Because when the stars call, humanity answers. 0. Chapter 16, The Signal. In the quiet of the Terran Core's command nexus, deep beneath what was once the Himalayas, the Helios Core's ancient systems flared to life for the first time in 1,000 years. A message. A signal that defied known physics. Coming from beyond the galactic halo, from the void between galaxies. Its language was strange, but familiar patterns echoed in it: mathematics, sequences, DNA-like codes. And one repeated phrase emerged after decryption. We seek the children of soul. We seek those who defied extinction. We seek the flame. Humanity listened. And answered. Chapter 17, The Exodus Fleet. The Galactic Accord, under Terran guidance, prepared for its greatest venture, to cross the intergalactic void. The Exodus Fleet was assembled. World ships the size of moons, housing millions. Arc dreadnoughts, bristling with weapons unseen since the Nyrics War. Sun forges, mobile stars to provide energy during the journey. AI minds merged with human captains, creating hybrid commanders called the Star Weavers. At the helm was Admiral Kaylin Reyes, descendant of the hero of Soul. Her oath was the same as his. Never shall we fall. Never shall we falter. The fleet launched, leaving behind the Milky Way, a glowing jewel in the dark. Chapter 18, The Abyss. The journey across the void was long, decades in subjective time. Strange phenomena assailed the fleet. High-voltage gravity reefs that bent space. High-voltage dark storms of antimatter particles. High-voltage echoes, signals that seemed like reflections of the fleet itself, but distorted and wrong. Through it all, humanity endured, with the Accord species standing by their side. The bond forged in past wars held strong. Then they reached their destination. Chapter 19, The Pale Galaxy. The fleet emerged into a new galaxy, the Pale Spiral, a place of dim stars and ghostly light. But they were not alone. Awaiting them were the Velkarin, the senders of the signal. A species of living energy, ancient beyond measure, they had once ruled this galaxy, but were driven to near extinction by a force known only as the Devourer. The Devourer was not a species. Not a fleet. Not a mind. It was a hunger, a self-replicating storm of dark matter and corrupted reality, consuming entire galaxies. And it was coming for the Milky Way. Chapter 20, The Alliance of Flame. Humanity did what it always did. It chose to fight. The Velkarin, inspired by Terran defiance, joined them. Together they forged weapons beyond imagination. Milky Way reality lances that could tear the fabric of the Devourer's substance. Milky Way star catalysts, unstable stars ignited and weaponized. Milky Way the Aegis Wall, an artificial galactic shield powered by billions of suns. And humanity led the charge, not to conquer, but to protect both galaxies. Chapter 21, The Battle for the Pale Spiral. The Devourer came, a tide of nothingness that consumed stars, worlds, time itself. The battle was beyond scale. Rocket human. Entire moons as weapons. Rocket Velkarin energy forms sacrificed themselves, burning like novas to hold the line. Rocket the Exodus fleet sunforges detonated in a final act, creating a barrier of living light. At the heart of it, Admiral Kaylin Reyes and her Star Weaver companions unleashed the Helios Core's last secret. The Forge of Soul, a weapon that compressed the mass of an entire star cluster into a singularity, and flung it into the Devourer's heart. The creature recoiled. Shattered. Fled into the void between voids. Chapter 22, The Legacy Renewed. The Pale Spiral was saved, for now. Humanity stood not as conqueror, but as guardian. The Velkarin named them the flame that guards the stars. And as the Accord rebuilt alongside their new allies, humanity sent ships home, to warn, to prepare, to share what they had learned. Because in the endless night of the cosmos, one truth remained. Where others see doom, humanity sees a challenge. Where others run, humanity rises. Where the stars end, humanity begins.